Hey everyone, I've had a few requests over the last few years to show how I make my dioramas. I'm going to be kind of explaining and showing how I made this one. I apologize because it's kind of in a weird format. I was trying to record on my phone with this tripod for the first time in my garage space. Didn't kind of work out the way I wanted, but I was able to get some decent footage, so I'll go ahead and show you that. So this is the Aliens vs. Predator Temple Guard. I didn't really enjoy the Predator shown here in this one. I kind of wanted to go more for this variant of the Predator. So that's the one I'm going to be using and kind of editing for this diorama. NECA did make a figure of that other one. I just didn't really enjoy that one. I liked this guy. So I wanted to customize and make a base, kind of a display. And NECA didn't have this xenomorph head through the spear, so I used some milliput to kind of texture that and give it an implied texture of him being, having his head severed and his body cut up and dismembered. So that base is just a big piece of high density foam board. You can buy that at Home Depot or Lowe's. Here I have I believe it's a hot iron or rod or something like that. You can buy it on Amazon for about 20 bucks or so. I use that to score the foam, and man, I really neglected buying that thing, a few years earlier because it was awesome. Here I'm just using a wire brush to create some texture in this stone and some little filing tools to get some chipping in there. Here I just gave it a gray base coat, get a kind of idea of how it's gonna look. Then I just give it a black undercoat, wash, bring out some of those details, cover up any of the green coloring left behind. Here's the dreads. I kind of wanted to repaint these. I've tried to do this before with enamel paints. Doesn't really work out the way you want. Sometimes it comes off. Here's the mask before it was painted up. Kind of wanted to show off some of the details on that before it's brought out by some Tamiya panel liner and some black washes. For the alien's head here, I used some, I believe it was wiring, and I just snipped up and painted it. Covered this in milliput as well. I used some UV resin to kind of seal in the paints and give it some shine and protect it, make it look a little more goopy. I'm just using some enamel paint here to repaint the xenomorph's teeth, as they weren't really accurate before and they were kind of white. So that was after I had airbrushed the xenomorph head black. Again, here I'm just dry brushing the armor pieces to bring out more of that silver look. I did like the original paint job on these, but I figured a dry brush would kind of highlight some more of that detail, make it look a little newer. If you look at some of the reference photos of the Predators from the movie, their armor is a little bit more bright and newish looking, and I kind of wanted to give it that touch up instead of it being so grayed out and kind of desaturated here. So I looked at some of those photos of them and tried to replicate that. Doing a black wash over these areas, bring out some more of this detail. There's actually some script written in the back of the armor here, and I think a lot of that gets lost in the figure and just, the base paints that they come out with to mass produce these figures. So I just kind of want to highlight that and show it off because it's pretty impeccable. It's pretty cool being able to see all that. And if you look down there, you can actually see I can't remember what they're called, but the little disc blades that they throw. The one on the left with the copper in it, that was the original, and then the one on the right, I went ahead and repainted that with an enamel paint and then gave it a wash. Here I'm trying to bring out some of the details in the chest, the skin. I'm using like a brown wash color for that. Kind of, in a way, I'm gonna desaturate the skin with it a little bit and also make it look a little dirty and kind of grimy on the skin. The brown kind of makes it look a little more natural in tone, at least to me, so I went ahead and did that. I used brown in years prior to kind of highlight their muscles and such. It kind of, for me, it worked out well. Here I'm using some black enamel paint to refine the edges and the netting on their skin. It's a little difficult, so Sometimes if I accidentally use too much, I'll go ahead and I'll add some black polka dots around the area to look like that, whatever that is on their skin, those little freckle looking areas. And I'm actually using a toothpick here to apply it because it's thin and kind of consistent. After a little while, the paintbrushes get gunked up a little bit from use, and it's a little difficult to maintain that thin line. And here I'm adding some paint to the stitching on their leather, the little leather belt. This is before I colored the dreads with the enamel paint. Again, it's kind of hard, but I wanted to cover up the imperfections left behind from the previous job. If you look at it closely, you can kind of see how it bleeds out over onto the dreads itself. And this is the helmet before I give it a paint. I gave this a base coat of wash and with Tamiya panel liner to bring out some of the detail before I painted it. That way it's not so super oddly shiny and contrasty with the rest of the figure. So here I'm giving the final paint job onto the helmet with the silver enamel paint. The helmet was actually kind of a pain to remove because they have it sealed in pretty good. They have it outlined with a plastic rim that rests into the Predator's head. And what I did was I boiled it in some hot water carefully to loosen that glue, and you could take it out then. I also gave the eyes a repaint on them that see through the helmet, the eyes that come. And you can see here where the eyes are vacant and the mask itself. The eyes are molded onto the head itself and painted gray, so I also went ahead and gave that a repaint, kind of touch it up, make it a little more vibrant. So this was how I made this diorama and painted this figure. There's a couple little more details that I did to it, just several paints and washes and such. But I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Leave a like, a comment if you have any questions and such, and I'll try and get back to those. I hope to, in some future times, get better with some of this video production and kind of show you guys how I'm doing it and how I'm working through these dioramas and figures. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.